Once upon a time, in a sprawling and vibrant city, lived a billionaire named Eric. He had everything a man could dream of: sleek cars, a palatial mansion, and a fortune so vast he could never spend it all. Yet, beneath all that luxury, Eric carried a heavy loneliness. He was admired, even envied, but never truly loved. Every relationship he had ended the same way: women drawn to his wealth, not his heart. The more it happened, the emptier he felt. Eric didn't want admiration. He longed for affection, genuine, unfiltered love. He wanted someone who would see him not as a billionaire, but simply as a man. One restless night, an idea came to him like a whisper from his soul. He would disappear. Not forever, just long enough to strip away the riches and the fame. He would disguise himself as a crippled beggar, a man with nothing. If someone could love him like that, then perhaps they loved the real Eric. When he told his parents about his plan, panic spread across their faces. His mother, a formidable businesswoman, and his father, a powerful politician, were horrified. "Eric, you're playing with danger," his father warned, his voice tight with concern. "What if someone finds out who you really are? What if you're harmed or kidnapped?" "I'll be careful," Eric replied, his eyes steady. "I'm going far away, someplace where no one knows me." Against their protests, Eric left his mansion behind and journeyed to a quiet village, far from the noise and glamour of the city. He dressed in tattered clothes, sat himself in a wheelchair, and positioned on a dusty street corner with his hand outstretched. "Please help me," he whispered to passers-by, his voice shaky. Days passed. People walked by, barely noticing him. Some spared a glance, others clutched their belongings and hurried past. Eric had never felt so invisible. But he remained there, clinging to hope. Then, one day, everything changed. A girl named Destiny appeared. She looked to be in her early 20s, her presence gentle and her eyes kind. Life hadn't been easy for her. Her family was poor, and her father, Roland, toiled on their small farm to make ends meet. But despite her own hardships, Destiny never stopped smiling. As she walked past Eric, she slowed. She noticed his tired eyes, his frail posture, and the hunger lining his face. She stopped, knelt beside him, and met his gaze. "Are you okay?" she asked softly, concern flooding her voice. Eric was taken aback. Days had passed without anyone speaking to him. "I'm just trying to get by," he said weakly. Destiny reached into her small purse. She barely had anything, yet she placed a few coins into his palm. "I know it's not much," she said, "but it's all I have right now." Eric's throat tightened. Her kindness pierced through him like sunlight in a storm. "Thank you," he whispered, barely able to speak. Destiny lingered. "Do you have anywhere to sleep?" she asked, but he shook his head. "No," he replied, feeling guilty for lying that Destiny's brows furrowed in thought. "Our house is small," she said, "but maybe my father will let you stay." She hurried home, heart heavy with concern for the stranger she had just met. At home, Roland was resting after a long day on the farm. Though time had etched lines into his face, it hadn't hardened his heart. "Father," Destiny began, hesitant. "I met a man today, a beggar. He's crippled and has nowhere to sleep." Roland looked at her. "What did you do?" "I gave him the little money I had left. I wanted to help, but I wasn't sure if it was right to invite him home." Roland sighed deeply, then nodded. "No one should be left to suffer when we have a roof over our heads. Go bring him here. We'll make space." Destiny beamed, grateful for her father's compassion. She rushed back to Eric. "My father said you can't sleep out here tonight," she said gently. "Come with me. We'll give you a place to rest." Eric blinked, stunned by the kindness. I don't know what to say," he stammered. "You don't need to say anything," Destiny smiled. "Just let us help." With her help, Eric rolled his wheelchair to their humble home. The house was modest, but the warmth inside was like nothing he'd felt in years. Destiny and Roland, despite their limited means, were offering him the one thing money had never bought him: genuine care. That night, Eric lay on a thin mattress in a clean, quiet room. He listened to the chirping of crickets and the rustle of trees. For the first time in years, he felt peace. Destiny brought him a bowl of hot soup and sat beside him. "You can stay as long as you need," she said. "We just want to help." Eric's eyes filled with tears. "Thank you. You don't know how much this means to me." Over the following days, Roland and Destiny cared for Eric with unwavering kindness. They helped him bathe, eat, and feel like a human again. Destiny made a small garden outside for him to enjoy the sun. They laughed, talked, and with each passing day, Eric found himself smiling more. One evening in the garden, Destiny looked at him. You seem sad sometimes, she said. Is something bothering you? Eric wanted to tell her everything, but instead he said, I'm just grateful to be here. I've been through a lot. Destiny nodded, but her eyes showed she wanted to know more. Eric felt the weight of his secret grow heavier. He was living a lie, and it was beginning to gnaw at him. Back in the city, Eric's parents were consumed by worry. Their son had vanished without a word. Every night, his mother sat by the window, praying through tears. Where are you, Eric? She whispered, heart aching. His father tried to stay strong. He'll be fine, he said, but his voice betrayed the knot in his stomach. Meanwhile, in the village, Roland sat beside Eric in the garden one cool evening. Gently, he asked how Eric ended up in the wheelchair. Eric's heart pounded as he lied. I was in a car accident a few months ago, he said. I survived, but my legs, they were badly injured. The doctor said I can walk again, but I need surgery. It's expensive. Roland listened, compassion flooding his face. He knew what he had to do. The next morning, Roland pulled Destiny aside. We need to help him, he said. We'll start by selling some of our farm produce, fruits, vegetables, maybe even a few goats. Destiny nodded, tears in her eyes. We don't have much, but if anyone deserves it, he does. They kept their plan a secret from Eric, fearing he would refuse. Destiny began working harder than ever, selling produce at the village market. One day, while arranging her stall, a familiar figure approached, Judah, a wealthy young man from the city. Judah had been trying to woo Destiny for months, offering her gifts and promises of wealth if she would marry him. You don't belong here, he said. Come with me. I'll give you the life you deserve. Destiny smiled politely but firmly declined. My life may be simple, but it brings me peace. Judah grew angry. You're a fool, he spat. You'd choose this dirty village over a mansion? Over me. He stormed off, fuming. Back at home, Destiny and Roland continued saving every coin. But their efforts were slow, and money for the surgery still seemed far away. One afternoon, Sophia, Destiny's best friend, visited. Unknown to Destiny, Judah had bribed Sophia, hoping she could convince Destiny to change her mind. You're throwing away a golden opportunity, Sophia said. Judah is rich, handsome. You'd never have to work again. Destiny stayed calm. I'm not interested in Judah. Then, with a shy smile, she confessed. I think I'm starting to fall in love with Eric. Sophia stared in disbelief. Eric? That poor crippled beggar, she scoffed. Are you out of your mind? She mocked Eric, calling him names, ridiculing Destiny for even considering him over Judah. Destiny stood her ground. If you're only here to talk about Judah, don't come again. Furious, Sophia left and went straight to Judah, spilling everything. How Destiny was falling for Eric, and how she had no intention of marrying him. Judah was livid. She'd rather choose a beggar over me, he fumed, but as Judah raged, Sophia's feelings twisted. She had always supported him, always been loyal. Why had he never noticed her? She confronted Judah. Why are you chasing Destiny when I'm right here? She cried. I'm rich. I'm beautiful. I can give you everything you want. But Judah didn't even flinch. His heart was set on Destiny. To him, Destiny was everything Sophia was not, humble, pure, and kind-hearted. And that made her priceless. Eric finally asked the question that had been burning inside him. If you liked me, Sophia, why didn't you say something when I was pretending to be crippled? Why wait until now? Sophia responded quickly, her voice laced with feigned innocence. I was waiting for the right time. I didn't want to get in the way while you were figuring things out with Destiny. But Eric had heard enough. His eyes darkened as he stood, his voice sharp and unwavering. Get out, he said coldly. I know exactly what you're doing. You're not here for me. You're here for my money. You're selfish, entitled, and nothing more than a gold digger. Sophia's face flushed with rage and humiliation. She hadn't expected this rejection. Without another word, she stormed out, fuming. As she walked away, she muttered curses under her breath, placing all the blame on Destiny. If it weren't for that village girl, she thought bitterly, I would have had Eric. Days passed. Eric did everything he could to convince Destiny and her father, Roland, to come with him to the city. He apologized again and again, explaining that he never intended to hurt them, that all he ever wanted was love, not deceit. But the wound had cut too deep. Destiny could no longer trust him, and Roland felt utterly betrayed. Despite Eric's pleas, they could no longer see him the same way. It broke Eric's heart. This was the only family that had ever shown him love without expecting anything in return. When they believed he had nothing, they gave him food, shelter, and kindness. And now, because of his lies, he had destroyed it all. One morning, with a heavy heart, Eric decided to leave the village. Staying would only deepen the pain. He couldn't bear the sorrow in Destiny's eyes or the disappointment etched into Roland's face. He packed his things slowly, his soul aching with regret. Before he left, Eric sat in their modest home one last time, letting the memories flood back. The laughter, the warmth, the fragile hope of something real. This place had once felt like home. As he walked down the dusty road, he turned back for a final look. The house stood quietly behind him, but in his heart, it echoed with everything he had lost. The sun was setting, casting golden shadows as the village faded from view. But inside him, a deeper shadow remained. No amount of wealth could fill the emptiness left by a love he had shattered. Back in the house, Destiny wept silently. Her heart broke all over again. She had fallen for Eric, despite everything. And now he was gone. She questioned her decision. Had she let pride and pain cost her a love that was real? Though Eric had lied, she had seen something true in his eyes, felt something pure in his presence. And now, all that was left was regret. When Eric arrived back at the city mansion, his mother was the first to see him. The moment her eyes met his, she ran to him, embracing him with trembling arms. "Thank God you're back," she whispered, tears of relief streaming down her cheeks. "We were so worried. Where have you been?" Eric exhaled deeply and began to tell her everything. He spoke of the village, of how he had disguised himself to find love, and of Destiny and Roland, how they had taken him in, cared for him, and how he had fallen deeply in love with Destiny. His mother listened in silence, her heart softening as she saw the pain in her son's eyes. When he finished, she touched his hand gently. "I'm so sorry, Eric. It sounds like they truly cared for you. But life can be cruel sometimes. Maybe it's for the best. You'll find love again, I'm sure." Just then, the front door creaked open. Eric's father entered. A tall, stern man, he exuded authority. He was a successful businessman and an ambitious politician, fixated on one goal, becoming the next governor. Everything had been carefully planned, except his son's unexpected detour. Without even glancing at Eric, he walked straight into his study. Eric followed, bracing himself for confrontation. "Father, I'm back," he said quietly. His father didn't look up. "So you finally decided to return. Where have you been?" Eric explained it all again, hoping his father might understand. But when he finished, the old man leaned back in his chair, eyes cold. "Good," he said. "I'm glad she rejected you." Eric stared at him, stunned. "What? I never supported this nonsense. Running off to a village, pretending to be poor to find love? Foolishness," he said flatly. "You're my only son. I have invested everything in your future. And that future includes marrying Chief Timothy's daughter." Eric's heart twisted. "But I don't love her. I barely know her." His father slammed his hand on the desk. "This isn't about love. This is about power. About legacy. Chief Timothy is the key to winning this election, and you will marry his daughter, or there will be consequences." Eric stood there, torn between duty and desire. His father's coldness was suffocating. That evening, unable to take the pressure, Eric confided in his mother. "I can't do this," he said. "I want to go back to the village, to Destiny, to the only people who ever truly cared for me." His mother, worried and torn, tried to dissuade him. But Eric had made up his mind. Quietly, before his father returned home, he packed his bags and left for the village. When Eric arrived, Destiny was stunned. Then her face lit up, and tears filled her eyes. She had missed him terribly. That night, they sat together, holding hands, talking about everything. Eric knew this was where he belonged. But back in the city, the storm was brewing. When Eric's father returned home and learned that his son had left again, he was livid. He vowed to bring Eric back, by force if necessary. His wife calmed him down with a cunning suggestion. Invite Destiny and Roland to the city, then bribe them to disappear. Her husband agreed. After all, everyone had a price. The next day, Eric received a call from his mother. She invited Destiny and Roland to visit the city. Eric was overjoyed. Destiny shared the news with her father, and for the first time in his life, Roland agreed to see the world beyond the village. When they arrived, Eric's father welcomed them with an unsettling calm. He offered them a house and a business, claiming he wanted them to live comfortably. Roland, overwhelmed with gratitude, thanked him sincerely. But the kindness was a mask. One afternoon, Eric's father visited Destiny alone. His face was cold, his voice low and threatening. "Now that you have a house and a business," he said, "you will stay away from my son. If you or your father disobey, you'll disappear, and no one will ask what happened." Destiny trembled with fear. That night, she told Eric everything. Furious, Eric confronted his father. But when his words fell on deaf ears, Eric went straight to Chief Timothy's house. He looked the man in the eye and declared he would never marry his daughter. To drive his point home, he lied, saying Destiny was already pregnant. Chief Timothy was enraged. He stormed to Eric's father and cut all political ties. Without his support, Eric's father's campaign collapsed overnight. The election came. Eric's father lost. His dreams of becoming governor crumbled. Blinded by rage, he made one final, cruel decision that he sent men to Roland's house. They arrived under the cover of darkness and beat the old man mercilessly. When they left, Roland lay unconscious, bloodied and broken. All because of a love his father could never understand.